5.
Number 5.
I don't even know what we're talking about yet.
About to find out.
I'm coming in blind. Get you some more exposure there.
Are you not gonna sip?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm worried about fitting these swole guys.
Oh, I know. We've just made so many gains over the last month.
Tastes a little funky today.
It's hot. Let me throw in my trusty podcasting chaw, and then we'll get to some updates. And it's been a crazy month and a half for us.
It's been a crazy 2 months.
Yeah, it's been a minute since your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't podcasted since the wedding.
It's when it all turned upside down.
So I have some exciting updates. I am the biggest muscular-wise that I've ever been.
And fat.
I'm a little fat. It comes with the territory, but you know, I'm huge, man. 226 right now. Maybe, I don't know, but no, that's exciting. I never thought that I would achieve 220s for sure, as tiny as I used to be in high school. So that's very exciting for me. The sky's the limit, I'm seeing. My strength is not as the highest that it's ever been, but it's pretty close. Running a program right now, Jeff Neppard's program. Fantastic stuff. I hope we're live. I think we're live.
Yeah,
we're live. And so other than that, the presidency's pretty freaking nuts right now. Seems like the world's
asleep over this.
The world's in shambles, and to me, it's terrifying, especially being a business owner.
A small business.
Small business owner, mind you. Okay, what did Trump's tax reform do for us personally? How much money did it save us?
I mean, it saves us over 10 grand a year in just taxes alone. We get a credit for it, or else that would something we would have to be paying into.
So, but we don't have tremendous amount of wiggle room, do we? No. And we're about to find that out. We're on D-Day, so you know it's not going to be a doom and gloom podcast. It's actually going to be reverse.
I'm doom and gloom.
And
I look at the numbers.
And you're going to learn about our failures and failing forward. This is success and failing forward.
And
because
another key point, if you're going to own a business, expect not to make a few paychecks every now and then.
It's not all, you know, hunky-dory and positivity and everything's rainbow and sunshines. We have gone through it all, and unfortunately for us, we have to go through it again. And that is no bueno. So we're looking at potentially 3 weeks of no pay. Our guys will get paid, but as business owners, we will get no money. And we live...
Well, this is going to be a trend going into the winter, too.
Oh, yeah, which is detrimental. Like, wintertime for us is hands down the worst time of the year. For work productivity, for days off because of snow and, you know, stuff like that. Machine tends to break down more in the winter. So you definitely have to try, and we tried, this is the thing, you know, no matter how hard you try to prepare yourself for my business. That's a different one. But no matter how hard you try to prepare to offset the challenges that your business is going to incur, it's not always going to pan out. And that's kind of why we're here today, to, you know, give you the nitty-gritty truth of what happens behind the scenes and where these things can go. And these things can go into lack of pay. A lot of businesses are feeling this with COVID-19. And I think a multitude of businesses are going to fill it with the Biden and Harris presidency. That's if Trump doesn't start World War III and win in the Supreme Court because they were cheating. So we've got multitudes of business, terrible things we're looking at. So we're either going to be having our businesses burnt down, or we're going to be shut down for a virus that kills, 1% of the population. So it can be excessively stressful being a business owner, and you have to stay vigilant, and, you can't always be positive. When he comes back, he'll be the first to tell you he is not positive right now. I am not positive right now. But we do not give up, and we're not going to stop moving forward. And that's why today's podcast, and I'm kind of just updating you before we start the actual segment, is success and failing forward. You're going to incur terrible offsets in your business career, especially starting out, and we're still starting out. So Legacy, of course, Legacy Slots is not open yet. That is still coming, and I honestly don't know what's going to happen with that. COVID-19 could be excessively detrimental to our second business venture, but hopefully we've structured our business plan well enough to where we can outlast the virus. And so I was just updating them on how terrible things are getting. Yeah. And so basically, for our primary business, we have to restructure everything. Potentially new contracts, potentially the old contracts that we have are getting very wishy-washy, and they are not sustainable. So I'll be on the phone all morning making phone calls, trying to move our business into other waters and other ventures.
More lucrative, safe waters.
And this is not the ideal time. And that's another thing that you have to realize, that not everything's going to happen in the ideal time. The ideal time to move an underground business is like spring, the beginning of the warm season. At worst, the middle, never at the end. Never when the ground's about to freeze.
Things in a typical way.
But, I mean, we've never been in a position to where we had the option to do things in the proper manner. This is dog eat dog. We're in survival mode 24/7. There is not a simple thing about owning a business. And I hope everybody out there can hear me. I've got a new phone case and it might be muffling me, but I'm trying to talk a little louder.
But
for our live audience,
the podcast here will pick up all.
Yes,
of that, so
and if you miss it, it'll be uploaded later on our channel.
And also with the bit, I mean, it's not necessarily hard to start a business or keep a business. It depends on what the business is. We're on a very seasonal, labor-intensive, expensive, job. That's our business, And it's good in the good times and it gets bad in the bad times. That's just kind of how it is. I mean, it definitely allows us to have our freedoms, maneuverability in other business ventures. We can take random days off to go work at Legacy if we have to, stuff of that nature. And so it works out well. I will still never go back to 9 to 5, ever. It's, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt. It's not easy to start a business. We went through all kinds of hoops. Well, I mean, it depends on the business. I mean, our underground was easy. Fill out a couple papers and you're done. If you get a liquor license and have to do a slot parlor, it's a little bit of a waiting game. But
at least 3 days in an office trying to get proper paperwork, proper everything to get our licenses and everything that we need, and talk to the health department. So it's no matter what, understand what you're doing is for you. It's not for the outcome. It's not the glory. Yeah, we all hope for the glory, but this is for self-improvement. This is to, kind of stake out your own claim in this life and say, I created this, this is mine, no matter what happens with it, this is what I was capable of doing. And if you look at it that way, you have a much better survival rate than looking at the outcomes and the numbers and the money, because you won't survive that. The minute you start going without paychecks, I mean, my God, our first winter. You know what? Let's get into the podcast segment. We've updated you with our stresses. Today's podcast is failing forward and success. Success and failing forward. I don't know, because my forearms look jacked.
Well, let me just do some muscle movements too.
All right, so this is going to be a compilation of our funniest, most embarrassing, worst failures leading up to this, so we can remind ourselves what we've already been through.
So, for instance, every time we come to a really terrible point in our life, like the other day, I just looked at him and I was like, in a year from now, we're going to laugh about this.
And he's said this so many times.
I say this every year.
Every year.
Because we're
gonna. I have yet to laugh at it though.
I've laughed at the wall.
So let's start out with when we were on a 2-man crew, and we're just gonna off the hilt. We're just gonna pull stories out. It was snowing. It was what? It was probably January of 2017 or 18. It may have been 18.
Maybe, I don't know, somewhere in that range.
And it was cold. It was snowy. We were in a very nice subdivision in St. Louis, which was hell on earth.
All rock.
All rock. And I know you guys don't understand that, so our drill does not like drilling through rock. And that's all St. Louis is rock. It's 10 times harder. It breaks the machine. It's literally.
We were also using an older machine.
It was dog shit. Sorry about my language, but just dog shit. We barely survived St. Louis with the beginning of our business. So, this is us learning. Nobody taught us anything. Nobody. We learned everything ourselves, literally.
We learned basic machine operations and kind of locating situations. Very basic.
Basic.
In like a week. And then kind of, we know what we're doing.
Let's do it to it. And so we're in a very nice subdivision, and we are boarding, and which means we have to carry 2 big pieces of plywood so our machine can drive on it so it doesn't rut up the ground.
Yep. And we did this for about 400 feet.
400 feet.
So
which
we moved the machine 6 feet, moved the plywood.
Probably
6 feet,
took us
the plywood.
easily
an
hour
just to get it down all the way
just to start the job. So, no embarrassingness yet. We're beating ourselves up. I'm pretty sure I made like a little makeshift tarp, and
it was raining.
It was cold.
It was snowing on us.
We were literally freezing. We're soaking wet. It's not fun. We don't have a crew at this point.
And it was like a less than 200-foot job, which
it was
in any other circumstance would take 20 minutes in out. This took us 2 to 3 days. Everything was going wrong.
So basically, we shoot in multiple times. The rock pops us up. We're getting aggravated and everything. I believe we finish it.
Almost at the power line.
And so we're pulling. I'm pulling the machine back, right? We're boarding. You can imagine 2 guys just repeatedly.
All the way up the hill.
Gave plenty of people time to get their cell phones out for what was about to happen. And which, if we're ever around, you need to have your cell phone out, just ready, just in case something fantastic happens.
So yeah, we're going up this hill,
and it's steep.
So
So
it's a pretty steep hill.
I would say
there's a little pond off to the side, and then there's just straight down.
Yes. So
and subdivision.
basically, right here, there's a pond, and we're going up at this angle. So there's the pond. Here's the angle that we're going up at. And all of a sudden, Jeff is to my left.
I'm by the truck.
And we're almost there. Like, I'm at the cusp of this hill, the crest, if you will. And the board does this weird, like, snow pounding sound and shifts. And all of a sudden, I start moving. I literally was on a 10,000 pound sled sliding down a hill at least 15 to 20 miles per hour.
This thing plunged.
And I just remember looking over at Jeff and screaming his name because I didn't know what to do. I'm holding up, there's this little bitty railing, and I'm holding on to it, trying to stop this gigantic machine, because if it topples over, there goes our business. It's all gone. Everything. We just pack up, we leave, and that's it. We failed. And I'm sliding down, just rutting up this entire yard.
Oh, yeah.
Just destroying it.
40 foot. It looks like he's going towards the pond.
Literally, I'm heading towards the pond.
I pulled Homer Simpson. I just backed into the bush.
He phased out. He disappeared.
I left.
He left me. And so I only had just my brain. So I kicked it into reverse and kicked it off the thing and dug into the ground, just destroying, just sliding to a stop. That was our first failure. I think
That wasn't our first. That was just a miracle.
Well, that was one of many. And we just packed up and we left abruptly.
Oh yeah, there was huge ruts.
There was just no fixing that. So we never got a call on that, though, luckily.
No.
So, that's one story. Another story is, me being hungover and not in my right mind and running a fire hydrant. And,
not to mention, this is the very first job we did for this company.
Okay, so the company that we're with currently. So I was super, everything's stressful. So, like I've said before, drinking is kind of an outlet for me to decompress. That, I'm sure that sounds great, but again, when you're dealing with universes exploding and coming together, you're going to get paid, or, it's a lot. And so Jeff, who was at the top of the water tank? It was a Cam?
Yeah. So to get water, we obviously attach a fire hose to the hydrant.
And we fill up our tank.
Turn the hydrant on. Normal stuff. Pretty easy. We've done this for years.
But I was out of it. I don't know if you've ever had that fog and you're not thinking. And so Cam's like, okay, we're good. And I keep opening it. It keeps going faster and faster. And so Cam eventually bails, and I'm like, Jeff, what am I doing wrong?
I'm at least 50 foot the other way, and I just see the hose doing this in the air.
Just
and he is dead serious, screaming at me to walk over there. This hose is doing this in front of me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going over there. Just turn it. He's like, turn it? What do you mean turn it? It's like, turn it. I don't know what that means.
So yeah, that was another life lesson. And, there was the time we went to a perfect example. It was literally, wasn't it cold when we went to that one company? that we were borrowing their excavator.
Yeah.
And see, nothing goes.
This is a really shitty.
Nothing goes to plan.
So we have only so much equipment. At this point we had a machine that does the work and a cable trailer.
And
we got put on this big job,
rippling biceps to dig all
3 hours down south. It was rainy. It wasn't even cold. It was just rainy and wet because we had all the water issues.
No, yeah.
This is our first fiber job, which has to be deeper. There's a lot more that goes with it. We don't have an excavator at this time.
And we're in a marshland, literally. Like, water everywhere.
Water.
And so...
And then it just so happened that the guys that were doing it in front of happened to have a drill crew and has a drill business.
You know, a much bigger business than us. And they had an excavator. I'm an awkward turtle, okay? I will do whatever it takes to basically get ahead. And so I had the idea of, hey, you know, because renting an excavator is like...
Which we did do. It was like $400.
Yeah, $400 a day. And when you're in the position that we were in...
No money.
$400 is everything. And so I had the idea of, well, maybe I can talk to this guy. This guy's got like a really poopy excavator that looks old as dirt. And maybe he'll rent it to us for cheap. And so he basically was like, yo, you guys can just use it. It's fine. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And so we continued talking to him and whatnot. And he basically made all of this work that he had sound immaculate and amazing, and miles of work, and you know, that's a gold mine for any drill crew. And so we were getting beat up with the company that we're currently with, and which has improved greatly, I'll mind you. But we decided to check them out and to switch gears. And so we told the company, hey, you know, we made up a story and said, we got to do this for this person. And, you know,
we wanted to get our feelers out, check out the work.
One thing that we did learn was you don't just jump. You have
burn bridges.
You have a contingency plan at all times. You must have a plan, a backup plan in business. And that's any business that you have, you must have a plan for worst case scenarios. And we hit a worst case scenario.
Well, see, he's Mr. I mean, I'm not necessarily pessimistic, but I look at the realization.
I'm definitely the dreamer of the group.
His expectations are up here, and I keep him at a bare base. So keep him there. I'm not going to go too far up or down. And I was like, this work sounds good. It's probably too good to be true. Let's not burn bridges. We have things okay here.
Right. And I was in total agreement with that.
And we went, so this company tells us, hey, we got this shop for you. It's already called in. Let's go do it.
What else? They said that we could use equipment.
We told them we don't have excavators, core machines, anything like that. Like, okay, well, we got all that stuff. You guys can use it all. It's all to your disposal. We'll work something out. Okay, cool. So we get down to the inner city, and we're looking at each other like, what the fuck is this? It's just dog crap everywhere.
And
bad,
let me explain. Like, inner city, like, you know, you had street lights. To explain this in a way that you guys don't understand, you're talking about probably 5 days worth of just coring, which means you take a drill machine and you core down and basically you spot utilities with it. So there's no shooting for 5 days, which is bankruptcy for a drill crew, mind you. And so they knew they done fucked up, AA Ron, and they were like, oh, we won't give you this. We'll take you over here and start you on this. You know, we'll have one of our other drill crews that, you know, actually has the equipment to do this stuff with. And so we go over there, and, you know, of course we're waiting for an excavator to use, you know, so we can start, because, you know, we're on this shot, we could easily have done it. Like, they were like, you can't deviate from the plans. You were distraught about that. But now, if you were to do that, you could probably nail it. See, that's the funny is that you don't know what you're capable of until you actually do something. Yeah. So never forget that.
So we're waiting for an excavator because we need to dig a giant big hole for this big vault we're putting in. We're gonna shoot into it, all this stuff. Ground was hard as hell.
Dry clay.
It took 4 or 5 of us. Yeah, 5 of us
to dig a vault pit,
which was about 4 foot wide, 4 foot long, 3.5 foot deep. Took us an entire 3-4 hours to do.
To dig.
Which would have taken an excavator 10 minutes.
10 minutes, tops.
And we asked 3 times, like, hey, can we use the excavator? It's literally right down the road from us. And
they're not even using it.
Like, no, you can't yet.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
And we're like, well, what the hell are we doing here? And so we were like mentally distraught. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried that day. Like,
I think we all cried.
I think we both did actually. So that's the thing, you know.
No, it was one of those things. You looked at me, you saw the look, and then you cried.
Yeah, well, like there's a look. I call it the droopy dog look, the Jeff droopy dog look, and it's when his eyeballs and just cheeks all like droop down. Oh, we'll talk about where the droopy dog came from too, but. And I just knew, I was like, we can't fucking do this. It's not going to happen. And so I literally, you know, I wiped the tears away, and I got on the phone and I got a hold of the old contract.
Started
and we were literally there the next day. And we may have done a really poopy thing.
So I just called it at lunchtime. I was like, everybody pack your shit up.
We're done. This is bullshit.
They see our whole armada of 6 trucks just...
We're out. And
he gets phone calls.
I was like invisible. Like I literally Homer Simpsoned without my phone and disappeared. And
it was a pretty shitty thing.
It was a shitty thing. That was probably the only time we've ever done a shitty thing. But also, to be fair, they lied, and they basically, we were set up for complete destruction.
They jerked us around.
It was, we weren't going to survive because, you know, not only that, you have to understand how our pay works. We're generally 3 weeks out with a new company. The companies that I'm going to call today were 45 days out. Okay, we will not get paid for 45 days. That's even if it's not completion of project. If it's completion of project before we get paid, we've got about 2 months of shooting to do, and then we get 45 days without pay. But we will get probably one of the biggest checks the world has ever seen. And just to give you an idea, if we get on a 6-mile project and we're able to actually get it done in, you know, 2 to 3 months, you're talking about $200,000. Just to give you an idea. But the costs and the offset and the employee costs and everything,
we'll see a very small percentage.
We won't get nothing, probably, because we'll be catching everything up. But the next project, that's where business owners actually catch up. So that's kind of how it goes. We eat dog shit 24/7. So where did your droopy dog face come from? This is confident in Jeff's story territory here. This is Jeff not listening to his business partner Andrew for once and basically saying, I got this, guys. I got this. Or guy, because we were in St. Louis drilling through rock. And so we had 3 gas lines to cross in this subdivision. And basically 3 yards to go. It was what, a 300, 290?
Yeah, something like that.
290 foot shot. And so we potholed. Potholing is when you spot the utilities, you watch your drill head pass so you don't blow up a neighborhood. And so Jeff had anticipated at the very last gas hole, like 5 feet away from that is where we were going to come up. So he, in his head, he was like, well, logically, I'm going to be coming up to hit this, our hole anyways, so we can set our ped. We don't need to spot this. He was like, and I was like, I don't know, man.
And there's a bunch of roots.
Well, we didn't know about the roots.
Oh, that's
right. Yeah, that's why you fucking hit it. Because we didn't know about the tree system that was down there. And so he's telling me, because I'm drilling at the time. He's like, I'm trying to push up. I can't push up. Like, even though I'm pushing up, if you're under something, it's going to keep your drill head going down. And so all I remember is he told me to go to 9 o'clock, turn my drill head at 9 o'clock, and push because we're getting too far off. And all of a sudden, my rods go fast. Bad sign, terrible sign, worst sign in the universe. That's either you broke a rod or you went through something. And I was bound up on a root, and I just slice right through this gas line. And so I thought
he didn't know it.
I thought he was messing with me because he does this all the time. He's a big jerk ass. And he was like, dude, I smell gas.
I'm sitting there smelling.
Like literally, he's crawling around like
an ant on the ground. I'm just fucking.
Just sniffing the ground, and
I was like Michael Phelps on the ground.
And I'm like, shut up, dude. We did not. And he's like, no, I'm serious. We hit it. I look down basically our shot line, and we have gas plumes just coming out of our fucking holes, and I'm like, oh my god. I get off the machine and I just start sprinting over there like a madman, not realizing my machine's still on, which can explode fucking everything. So then I have to run back, shut my machine off, and then we start feverishly digging this gas hole up so we can pretend that we spotted it and something just happened. Well, guess what? We couldn't dig it up because of a giant tree system that was holding it up. Literally a stump. And that's the first time that I had watched. I don't think I've seen anybody's cheeks just hang. Like his eyes were just dangling there. And we thought our business was done there. That, I don't even think we got charged for that. And that's another thing. Divine luck. You're gonna have.
I mean, they had to dig it up, but it took maybe 10 minutes to fix.
Right.
We never hit a gas line before, so we didn't.
Right. No, it was terrifying.
It was a little bitty guy. He just clamped it off, put it together, and
we were both embarrassed, red faced. The fire trucks and everything are there, and everybody's just looking at us. But it's apparently a normal thing in St. Louis. They hit them all the time. We didn't know that, but yeah, that was. I
like to not hit things.
Yeah, that was a life lesson. That was a we do everything properly lesson, but we do now mostly. Well, not anymore. Let's just say our skills improved to where we don't even need to go into that. Okay, so let's take the last big job that we were on that. We were getting paid peanuts for. What did that do to us? What did the $1 that we were expecting do to us that we were missing out of our pay?
Well, I mean, we were missing about $3,000 to pay, which would have paid off our entire insurance bill and a couple other things for an entire month.
See, when you're subcontracting and you don't always get good deals, especially if you're with a company that knows you're small and they are just, taking 25 to 30% off the top. It's not a fun time. And especially when you don't know when you're getting paid, how much you're getting paid, doing your books is virtually impossible. And these are all things that we deal with 24/7. That is why we are restructuring our business and moving to a different contract, because it's impossible for us to it's impossible for us to sustain. I wouldn't say to sustain, we can get through it, but it's way too much stress for the money that we're bringing in. And that's something you have to evaluate failing forward is sometimes you got to call it quits on something and move to something else.
We don't like to necessarily give up, and we haven't really given up on anything we've done. It's just we have to take a lot of losses. I mean, how many losses can you take before you accumulate one win?
Right.
And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're trying to just push through all of the losses right now to get to a better spot.
And I mean,
and part of that is understanding our self-worth. Like we know now after doing years of work in this line of business that our self-worth is more than what we're being told upon us. We're getting underappreciated in our pricing and all that, and we're just trying to make everybody happy. But everyone can be happy all they want, but if we're not getting the compensation for it, then there's nothing we can do. We can make all these customers happy, do all the work, great, but if we're not going to get paid for it,
right,
then what's it for?
Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Let me work it. Put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it. And that's what we're doing. We're putting that thing down, we're flipping it, and we're reversing it. And business is always moving. It's always if you're stagnant, that's not a good thing. You want to always try to be more efficient, find a better way, better pricing, better. Now, not always. Loyalty is important, and we've stuck with this company for a year and a half. And if it were structured differently, we would probably stay indefinitely. But when people start getting weird and work starts disappearing paychecks go missed, and
like for instance, like this week we were supposed to come up with like $7,000, and we didn't get paid last week. We got $1,200 in our account. What are we gonna do?
What do you do? And that means we don't get paid.
Our machines aren't getting paid, our trucks aren't getting paid.
And so that's the thing where most people, when I've said in previous podcasts that everybody that I know would have given up by now, that's not false. We have been through the craziest.
There's a lot of people that are in the same industry as us that have given up, in far less circumstances. Like we've had a lot of adversity and just terrible things happen, and people quit for much less. They get one missed paycheck, they quit immediately, or they break down something, they just quit immediately. We've had pretty much done it all
of it,
and we're just too stubborn to stop because this is our livelihood, survival.
I mean, that's what we do. We are survivalists. We go through this adversity, and what do? We open another business. Or at least attempt to open another business. And that's all dependent on this COVID bullshit, I will say. Because, you're eventually going to get a rant on what's going on in the world, because it's ignorant. It's something that blows my mind. As somebody that is very self-sufficient, has had next to no helping hands, and has really turned his entire life around. What's going on in the world, I'm not good with. I'm not good with socialism. I'm not good. I like the ability to grow myself from like a turd to a polished turd, so to speak. So we'll get on that in another segment, and we'll probably go ham. But we got to get through all the stresses currently to be able to think about the world around us, because right now we're not thinking about the world. I'm not thinking about the president. Well, I am thinking about the president because that affects our taxes. But other than that, I've got so many phone calls to make today that's not even funny to secure our next path. And then he takes his mantle up, he takes his sword and shield, and he goes and does his stuff, gets a COI, gets the insurance set up, and then it bounces back to me, and then I
tell everybody we can't pay
anybody. And then it bounces back to me, and then I have to do some awkward talks with our benefactor and try and set up a a safety blanket into getting to where we are getting paid again. And it's not our first rodeo. It's not the first time we've ever done this.
Last year we went from, I think, mid-December all the way to almost February without pay. And that's just, I mean, that's something I've always known doing the business. That's why I save a bulk of my money, or try to. At least, you know, I like to try to save at least 3 months of bills, just in case, you know, something catastrophic happens. And as much as I can be safe, that doesn't mean our business is safe. You know, I have money saved up for my personal stuff, but the business still needs to make truck payments, machine payments, employee payments. And if the business isn't working, you know, I can't help that.
Right. And I mean, if the business isn't working, it doesn't matter how much money you've saved.
Exactly.
You know, and that's, you know, where it's all at. It's, you got to stay motivated, stay moving forward, and sometimes you got to fail forward.
I mean, last week we had powwows, we had all the negative talks, we had the defeated talks, we've had the given up talks, near suicidal talks, we had
it doesn't get fun.
Depressed talks, we've just had them all.
The self-enlightenment talks, alien talks.
It's a big circle. You have to get everything out, and you have to talk about it and kind of go through all options, because there's not always a clear-cut answer to do this or that. But all you can do is talk about it, see what feels right. I mean, we've made it this far, so some of our intuition has to have led us.
That's a great point,
path.
Because the paths are not clear-cut. And your intuition, sometimes you have to basically just hope and pray you're making the correct choice. And of course, we have made the wrong choices, you know, with that one company.
We've made wrong
choices. But
we've
survived.
It's either taught us a lesson,
right,
got us back on path in a weird way.
Weird ways.
You know?
Because we got an excavator right after that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and basically that was kind of us saying this is a crucial part. And once we got an excavator, we started blowing through stuff at a rapid rate. And we had a really good summer, actually a fantastic summer, actually fantastic. And you know, we're just setting it up. If we can set this company up, get everything going, we'll survive the winter. It'll be halfway through the winter, but
we won't see your first paycheck till January.
Yeah,
so.
But it is what it is. You know, you eat ramen noodles and you do what you got to do. You know, because eventually it's going to pay off, right? Eventually,
I mean, that's what I always.
It's going to be good, and it has been good. Like, we built gyms. I have a dream house. Well, not my dream house, but a pretty nice house. And you know, I eat ramen noodles. Whatever, I'll get through. I'm going to get through this.
Like I was gonna say, that's the mentality I always go with. If I just keep moving forward and progressing, pushing the needle, eventually you're gonna get through the shit. Eventually. How long is it gonna take? You could either be 1 foot away from the shit, 300 foot away. You never know. You just gotta keep moving through it.
What's that analogy you use? Would you eat, shit sandwiches for 5 years?
Mm-hmm. That's what I told him. I was like, sometimes you gotta eat shit sandwiches for 5 years in a row. But after you do that and you're set for the entire rest of your life, why not?
Why not?
It's worth it to eat the dirt for a little bit just to make your life that much more grand in the future.
Trust me, our breath smells like a giant turd. We've been eating the shit sandwiches. But that's the nifty thing about being a business owner and moving through. Hopefully COVID miraculously gets under control and we can move Legacy forward. We can open more locations, open this first location, which we're set for hopefully around December 1st. We're on track for. We're in the gaming board meeting now for November 17th. And after that, we are all clear. We made it. We did it. Only took a year. But that's business. people don't understand what goes into completely remodeling a building, a pandemic hitting, just all kinds of stuff. Running around, dealing with the state, it's a lot. And so you just have to understand that if you choose this path, it's going to be better eventually. And that's really, you have no choice. You have to believe that. Like, if you don't, you're fucked.
If you're going to take a spectrum right now, we're at a pretty low point, and all of our business career, it's pretty low right now.
It's down. But that's the thing. We're not, I haven't, there's not a thought in my mind right now, currently, maybe in 5 minutes, but currently, of us failing. It's not there. I know I can get through it. I know he can get through it. We have figured out worst scenario problems before. Like, it's nothing that we haven't gone through. And that's why sometimes you just have to remind yourself of your past and what you've been through, and, the adversity that you've already, been through. Because then the minors and the majors come into play. Because if you've already been through it, you've already conquered it once, that is a minor now. It's a minor. You've done it before. You can recreate the process. You can recreate what has already transpired. And then you continue worrying about your majors. Putting the drill to work, getting everything going, getting through the day, if that's the hard part. And so it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting 3 months. And, Legacy's opening, so I'm going to have no time. And, that's the fun part about it. I could sit and I could watch an anime, or I can sit and make money all the time. What do I want to allocate my time with? Do I want to allocate all of my time to being the best version of myself? Or do I want that resting time, or I don't want to work and, do this? I want to get to that point where every minute is pushing me forward. Every minute is bringing out the best version of myself. And so that's kind of where we're at, is things aren't always glamour. It was a damn good summer, but now it's time to get back to the grunt work. It's time to, make some magic happen and get through this shit. We gotta put the big boy pants back on, suck it up, and make some.
The next 4 or 5 months is gonna be pretty hell. That's all I know.
It always is. And then, but with the moves that we're making currently, you have to look at it a year in advance. I've already found that out. Basically, the moves that you set for last year affect your upcoming year. And if we can make these moves today, and we could be looking at maybe next winter not being so detrimental.
Every winter.
Well, you gotta just keep putting it into the universe. You gotta just keep hoping for it. And so, but that's what today's segment is. Sometimes you gotta fail forward. You gotta keep moving forward. And, you gotta laugh at your shit. You gotta laugh at life. That's kind of what we told our failing stories for. And trust me, we could probably write a book on it. This is all off the hilt. So if we really sat down and pulled out the stories, it would be insane. So just remember, be positive if you can. If you can't, laugh at your mistakes, or try to remember your past, mistakes, and just know that you've already moved past it once. It's just a boulder. Sidestep that shit, keep moving forward. So that's all we got today. So remember, guys,
give it